Awesome. Hello, everybody. Welcome, Joshua and Dustin, to the region. Good to have you. And we're just, I'm excited to introduce to you Likky Lavji. He is a person that I came across through another friend in Alberta, actually. It's funny how the internet world closes the world, makes us closer. But anyway, and I met Likky, and he has a wealth of experience. He's a professional speaker. He has clients like TELUS and big organizations. To get him to do this kind of speak would be very expensive for the average bear. But because we've developed a friendship, and what Likky has done with another gentleman is developed this blind spot assessment tool. And it has been, I've got certified on that now. And so it really helps you develop your team relationships. And of course, you guys all know I'm all about relationships. And so it's really important to discover kind of things about yourself. And I know us in the faith community, a lot of times we look at the spiritual matters, but we don't always look at the internal or the emotional and mental health of ourselves. And so I think it's just really important for us to have a holistic approach to things. And so Likky and I have been getting to know each other, and he's been training me and coaching me, and he's just been a delight and a very good man. And so he and I were talking one day, and he'd mentioned he would love to come, and I invited him if he would come and just do this presentation. And so we're very blessed to have him. Likky has written a book called Death by BS. You can see it over his shoulder there. And BS stands for blind spot, but it also stands for the other BS. When we don't see things in ourselves, we should really be paying attention to. And so we were saying before we all came on, we're pretty good storytellers, especially pastors, right? We're speakers. We're good storytellers, but sometimes we tell ourselves some stories that may not be accurate. So Likky's just going to take us on a journey this morning, and I know you're going to get a ton out of it. And so, Likky, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to turn it over to you, and we'll take it from there.
Oh, thank you, Mark and Stan, and for the welcome. I appreciate it. Thank you for all of you to be here this morning. I know taking an hour away from our busy lives is very difficult, but I acknowledge you for taking that time and being present here. I appreciate that. Some of us drove, some of us walked down to our offices. My commute was about 24 steps from my bedroom to my basement. But even as I was walking down those 24 steps, I checked my blind spots because I didn't want to trip over those stairs. I didn't want to trip over the dog's toys. But did any of you wake up looking for your own blind spots this morning? Your life blind spots? Or address your own BS that was in the way? Most of us don't do that. We're not used to that. That's just not part of life. We forget that part. But blind spots are interesting. They are seen by others right away. We just can't see them ourselves. Others can point them out. Right now, I can point out a bunch of blind spots about you guys, but I don't have the authority to call that out. Maybe for Mark, I do, because we have a trust and relationship built. So, but I wouldn't be able to do that to any of you because we don't have that relationship built yet. I'm hoping by 3 minutes from now, you'll give me the permission to allow me to do that. The interesting part is, without searching for blind spots, we are who we are, and we keep on going down that route, and we don't develop ourselves to be better humans. And we're all in this world to serve others. To serve others, we need to serve ourselves first as well and become present and authentic to who we really are. A couple of years ago, I was sitting in a conference, and actually in a workshop in New York, and I'd built this cohort of 4 people. I studied with them for the whole year, and in the last session that I did there, I asked them a very specific question, and I said, I've been going down this journey about blind spots, but one thing I need to know is, how do I show up when I walk into a room? And they all chuckled. And they go, are you sure you want to know this? I go, yeah, I need to know this. They go, well, Likky, I mean, if anybody's ever done any research on me, if you go to my website, I love dressing up. I really do. I love the plaid jackets and the bow ties, and I love to do that. COVID, it's a sweater and t-shirt, you know, anything goes now. But when I go out networking events, I love to dress up. And they go, you walk into a room dressed up and you don't smile. I go, okay, am I smiling? So I'm going to ask you, am I smiling right now? No. See, and I thought I was. So they said, because you walk in that way, you actually show up as a pompous blank. And I was taken aback. And then they go, until you speak, then you're warm, kind, and gentle. I go, so are you serious that when I walk into a room, your first impression of me is pompous blank? And they go, yeah, it kind of is, because you look dressed up and you don't smile. It looks like you want to own the room. And in fact, yes, I'm an extrovert on stage, but when I walk into a networking environment or new people, I just need to explore and just to feel comfortable. So I'm a little nervous, actually. So that nervousness shows up as pompous. But I would have never known that until I asked. When I came back home, I had to go to a networking event the next day, and I remember those words. I walked in, I was still dressed up, I had my bow tie on, but I had a big smile like this, even with my eyes. And the funny part was, as soon as I walked in, people approached me and started talking to me. I didn't have to go do the networking. And boy, what a life transformation just in one comment that was made. But I'm going to go back a few years. I had a stutter for 35 years. Now, have I stuttered yet in this conversation? Okay, so you guys are pretty easy to talk to, so I'm not nervous around you. Usually when I get nervous, I get stuttered. But honestly, for 35 years, I had a stutter. Imagine me being a public speaker, speaking in front of you or the 7,000 people I've spoken in front of with a stutter. I just couldn't do that. But that was all because I was holding on to some blind spots. When I immigrated to Canada, when I was 10 years old, my teacher asked me, can you share your journey with us? English wasn't my first language. So I get up in front of the class and I start talking. The kids started laughing at me. And one kid yells, go back to where you came from. I was 10 years old. I didn't care. Second kid yells, go back to where you came from. Okay, it started to hurt me now. I looked at the teacher. Teacher goes, he kind of literally shrugged his shoulders. He didn't know what to do. So I went back to my seat and started crying. The life of Likky with a stutter started. The life of Likky not belonging, not wanting to be here, not good enough started. Get through high school, being bullied, stuttered, labeled as ADD. In fact, I was smart, but I was labeled as ADD because I wasn't talking. And I was too worried about being bullied that I wasn't showing up to class. My anxiety kicked in. My depression kicked in. Grade 11, I dropped out of high school, went down a wrong path. But 2 years after that, started a company. A couple of years later after that, started another company. I've had 7 successful companies, but yet I'm not good enough. I have a stutter. Explain that. 6 years ago, I sold my IT company that I had for 25 years, sitting at a beach in Mexico. What a gorgeous place, right? Sitting there in the hammock. I knew my hammock. I had my drink going. The next morning, I wake up depressed. Didn't know what to do. I reached out to a good friend of mine and mentor, Bob Berg, he's the author of the book called The Go-Giver. And I said, Bob, I don't know what to do. He goes, come over and learn to be a coach and a speaker for us. I said, I can't be a speaker. I have a stutter. He goes, yeah, I hear that. But come on, let's just go through the coaching process at least. Because you've been a good mentor. I've been a good mentor of his. I've been a good mentee of his. And he was a great mentor. He taught me how to give value. So I went over, I respected him. And he says, Likky, do me a favor, just be present for the next 3 days. I go, sure. Last day before my flight, he does an exercise with everybody. He asked me to stand up first. I stand up and he acknowledges me. He says, Likky, thank you for coming down. You're such a kind, gentle human being. I would love for you to be a partner in our business. I would love for you to be our coach and spread the message. Kathy, his partner, stands up, acknowledges me for the person that I am. The third person, the fourth person, and again, after the fourth person, I'm in tears. And Bob goes, what's going on? I go, I've never heard these words before. And he goes, Likky, I wonder if we've never listened to these words before. Please listen to the rest of the people, and then we can talk. And literally after the 10th person, I felt a sense of relief. That night, I'm taking a flight back from Orlando to Dallas, talking to a passenger for 2 hours without a stutter. I get home, I tell my wife this, and she goes, great, it took 10 strangers to tell you what I've been telling you for years. You are a good person, but I had this block in me that I'm not good enough. I don't belong. I'm not worthy. Until that blind spot of not being present to listening to the good. Now, put your hands up. Who has an easy time listening to the good that comes your way? The compliments that come your way. You can all listen to them, right? You can take them really easily, right? Yeah, I don't see any hands up there. And that's the first thing. That's the first blind spot I want you to go through and learn to overcome. Bob Berg has 5 laws in his book, and the last law is the law of receptivity. The key to effective giving is staying open to receiving. You are all givers. You all give value. You all are servers. You're the servants. But open up to receiving as well. Because when we don't open ourselves up, we're not authentic. Learn to receive the good, learn to receive the bad, the criticism. We become better that way. Anyways, that was my spiel. So I want to have some fun here with this. Mark, actually, before I do that, I want to share one screen. I want to share a quote. And this is a quote that I've been living off of. And I'm going to share this because it's a screen share because it's a tongue twister. It takes a little while to get to hear it and understand it. So I'm going to read it twice, but while I'm reading it, read the words. Can you guys see the screen? Perfect. I'm not who you think I am. I'm not who I think I am. I am who I think you think I am. Bit of a tongue twister. I'll read it once more. I'm not who you think I am. I'm not who I think I am. I am who I think you think I am. Just let that sink in for a second. Remember my story about showing up as pompous? If I thought people thought I was pompous, how do you think I'm going to start reacting when I walk into this room? Now, the other part here is because I'm the speaker. I'm supposed to be the expert. Now, I could come into this conversation as an egotistical speaker and say, I know it all. You know, you got to pay attention to me. I was brought here because that's who I think you think I am. Because I've got the stage. I'm supposed to be the expert. But I don't do that. Well, at least not after I read this quote. So who do you think other people think you are? And how do you show up in front of them? And that's where that blind spot really comes into play. Blind spots are misinterpretations of our perceptions I'll say that again. Blind spots are misinterpretations of our perceptions. We have a perception of something, we misinterpreted it, and now the blind spot was created. Simple example, scarcity mindset. I know none of us have a scarcity mindset. We all have enough. But I'll use an example of scarcity mindset around money, for example. Imagine a 10-year-old getting a $2 allowance to go to the corner store. This is back in the day. I know $10 now, $2 now doesn't do much, but back in the day, you got $2 for allowance and you walked to the candy store and you picked up some incredible gummies and sours and you brought them home in that little white bag. Remember that little white bag? You brought it home. Exactly. Ryan's going like, yeah, I got that. You get home and your parents go, what? You went and bought candy with that $2? And bang, scarcity mindset started for the rest of your life. Parents didn't mean anything bad by it. They didn't mean you to have a scarcity mindset. They just wanted you to be frugal and just make sure that you save your money. Well, isn't that scarcity mindset? Or is it? Or are they just asking you to be cautious? Or is it? We don't know. But we misinterpreted that perception, that comment that created a blind spot moving forward. That one moment created that. So are you going to start looking at that one moment that created who you are today? Now, I wish I had 8 hours with you today to go through this in more details, but we've got about 25 minutes left. So let's fast forward all of this. And we've got this assessment we want you to take. It's, okay, literally, hear me, it's a 4-minute assessment, okay? If you're at 4 minutes and 2 seconds, you're overthinking this thing. Don't overthink it. We're going to give you the link in a second. Take the assessment. So turn your videos off when you take the assessment. As soon as you're done, turn your video back on. That means we know we're all done. But it's 9:52. At 9:56, we're going to stop. So don't overthink it. Take it. Have fun. And I'm going to turn
links in the chat, just so you know.
Sorry. Yeah, there's assumption. I'm going to turn my video off as well so that I don't keep on bugging you with my speaking. Okay, we're a minute left. Looks like Andy, you're sharing your screen. There you go. Perfect. Good. Well, come on back. Come on back. I'm sure you're just wrapping up right now. You didn't overthink this at all. You didn't overanalyze it. So as you come back, I'd love for you to right-click on your name, right-click on your image that you have on Zoom, and rename yourselves to your first name dash the style result you received. Awesome. Yeah. If the rest of you can do that, that'll be great as well. And if you're having a hard time, just put your hand up and we can help you. Okay, Stan, okay.
So you said
Ryan,
beside my name, just a right click
on your just on your picture, just right click on your picture.
on my picture. All right.
And then it'll say rename.
Okay, gotcha.
Awesome. I love that, Shem. Peacemaker steadiness. That's awesome. Good, good. So Andy, you may have a hard time. You're on an iPad. Ryan, could you maybe rename Andy? Andy, what was your result?
I didn't get the questionnaire.
Oh, okay. Not a worry. Mark, maybe you can reach out to Andy after and do that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I can email it.
And neither did
Thanks,
Brandon. Okay, not a worry. Marcel, were you able to do it? And Jonathan?
I think I jumped out too quick and didn't send me, like I didn't sign up for Mark's class. So
okay. No worries.
You didn't have to sign up for class.
Yeah, I just at the end, I think everybody jumped back on. So I jumped out and then I went back to the beginning. So I'll do it again while you guys are talking here.
Perfect. No worries. Okay, good. So let's continue on this. So we have a number of people that have analyzers, peacemakers, energizers. So I'm just labeling all of you. See that? I'm just labeling you. You're a peacemaker. You're a connector. No. This is not about labeling anybody. This is about realizing what your style is. So I want to share a small example. I'm a connector. My wife is an analyzer / peacemaker. She's kind of in between there. So she's more the analyzer side of things. So I'd be, I'm burnt out. I'm exhausted. I call her up and said, look, can we go on a holiday? And she's saying, yeah, it's a great idea. Let me get back to you and I'll find some options to go to. So the next day, I get this incredible 30-page email about the sand that we're going to be stepping on and the restaurants that we're going to be going, because the master chef was there at one point, and then the volcano erupted 34 years ago and it affected the lava this way. So I'm like, okay, so we're not going anywhere. I have to do research to go somewhere, and that's not me. So we don't go because I didn't know where we're going and how much it's going to cost me and when. So we didn't bother. And vice versa. I'm driving around and I see the 67 Mustang and I'm like, honey, I just saw this yellow Mustang. And she's like, oh no, here he goes, going to go buy another car. And I'm not. I'm just trying to throw stuff on the wall and see what sticks. I have a shiny object syndrome. I like looking at different things and then seeing what I can really figure out, and then I'll go focus on one thing. You notice the disconnect there? And we've been married 31 years. I wonder how that lasted. Like, seriously, we were disconnected like this. Mark, maybe you and I can talk about that. But literally, a couple of years ago, we did this assessment. And we realized why we were always in conflict. Now, when I say let's go on a holiday, subject line says Hawaii, 12 days, X amount of dollars. And then the 30-page email, because she has to communicate that way. And I respect that now, because now I actually read some of that 30-page email because I've got the information I need. And when I call her up about that Harley or that boat or that Mustang or that business idea or that move that I want to do, she's like, okay, which one really excites you? What does that look like for you? And she's communicating with my language. She's not dismissing what I'm trying to create. So we're able to communicate with each other. So I want a couple of volunteers. Who wants to put their hands up? See, nobody. Where's the blind spot here? Shy? What's going on? Okay, Mark, you know me better than this. I just don't let people sit. I'm just going to pick people. Is that okay? Okay. Joshua?
Volunteer.
Volunteer, exactly. Who just said it? Mark, that was you. So Joshua and Melanie. Perfect. So Joshua, you're a peacemaker. What? Go ahead and unmute.
Yep.
Do you have your report in front of you?
Yes, I do.
Excellent. So Melanie, while I'm doing this with Joshua, you might as well get prepared. Bring your report in front of you. There's something called the driving keyword. What's the driving keyword for you?
Yes. So the driving keyword is harmony.
Yeah. How does that resonate for you?
It's correct.
Yeah. And there's some strengths that are listed. What are some of the strengths that are listed?
So flexible, serving, loyal, kind, thoughtful, honest. Yes. Adaptable, diplomatic.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. So I'm doing this because I want the non-peacemakers to realize what a peacemaker's strengths and keywords are, driving keywords are. Because the next question I'm going to ask the peacemaker, Joshua, to read is one or two of his potential blind spots that are listed there. And the reason I'm going to ask him to read that is you may already see that about Joshua. If you were working as a team, you may have already seen that about Joshua. But Joshua may not have articulated well enough for himself. He may have known it sort of in the back of his mind, way back there. But now it's on a piece of paper. He can read it and say, yeah, that's kind of me. I get it now. Okay, Joshua, go ahead and read one or two of them.
Okay. Though you are the strong, stable, silent style, more dominion style might take advantage of you, mistaking your kindness for weakness. Being center stage is not your favorite place to be. Having to stand up and share your vision with a large group can tend to cause you fear and anxiety. Yes.
So Joshua, this is the reason why I picked a peacemaker. I know that blind spot, and I hope you don't mind me putting you uncomfortable.
It's okay. Yeah, I'm fine.
But interesting enough, I know that about peacemakers, right? But a lot of people may not know that about peacemakers. Sometimes what happens is the peacemaker style is so subdued and they want harmony. They don't want conflict, that people sometimes see peacemakers as dismissive and not caring. But it's the total opposite. But the way they show up sometimes is that way. And understanding each other's styles is huge. And understanding and sharing this conversation with others is huge. So Joshua, read one more.
Yeah. I like this one here because it's actually true. To avoid conflict, you tend to sacrifice your own wants, needs, and desires. Others might seem to appreciate this at times. However, it can also cause them to question your ability to lead, and you will build up resentment and feel bullied.
Wow. I also want to highlight something, if I may, Likky, because in our world, Joshua is a worship leader. So it says that he doesn't want center stage, and yet there he is on center stage leading worship. The problem is his motivation, that gift that he has of leading worship, doesn't mean he wants center stage. It just means that he has something in him that wants to worship God. So, and now he's leading others to do that. And so you can see how that, Joshua, that conflict could be if people sometimes think worship leaders are, self-centered or arrogant, or they're all that because they're center stage. And yet here's a peacemaker who doesn't want conflict, and he's being misunderstood. It can make him feel not so good about himself, or it may make him hard for him to connect to his team. And if that makes sense? I just wanted to highlight that to put it into our context. So if you're a peacemaker and a speaker, because I had to question that. I'm on the edge of connector is something that's in between peacemaker and motivator. And so I have that strong peacemaker in me as well. And I know sometimes people think, well, because you're a speaker or you're on stage, that means you want the limelight. And actually the opposite is true. I'm doing it because that's what my calling is. Does that make sense? And so sometimes people are misunderstood because of that.
Thanks for sharing that, Mark. It's wonderful. Joshua, the last one you talked about the center stage about avoiding conflict.
Yeah.
And you said this is true.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, I have had to do a lot of singing and a lot of like standing in front of 15,000 people. It nerves my brain, that I have to do that. But the moment I take the mic, there's this sense of peace that comes over me because I love to help people. I love to encourage people. So now that kind of switches there where kind of helps myself to now, you're not doing this for yourself, but you're doing it for someone else, yeah.
Perfect. Appreciate you sharing and being open with that. What I'm going to recommend here is, just a little bit of recap. Mark is being incredible and generous to come and join our team as a Blind Spots Global Certified Coach. He can go deeper into these conversations with some of you as well after this. So if you need to reach out and go deeper into your assessments, please reach out to Mark. I would want to reach out to Mark as well. He's great at talking about this as well. So reach out to him. I'm around to help you out as well. So again, we don't have the time to go through it in detail, but we'd love to do that, go deeper into conversations with you in this. One of the things that Mark is also really good at is taking this within your teams and do a workshop for you as well. So that's something to think about. Melanie.
Yes.
You're on stage. What's your driving keyword?
Stimulation.
All right. And some of your strengths.
Enthusiastic, bold, convincing, strong, decisive, optimistic, self-assured, outgoing.
How do those resonate for you?
Yeah, they're pretty much all bang on. I just can't believe how these tests can just bring it right forward.
So interesting, when you were reading your strengths, you were kind of subdued. You weren't believing it, that you want to believe it, but you weren't convincing enough to yourself that, yeah, this is me. So that's going back to my first comment about receiving.
Yeah.
You notice that? And I see that from right now. So I'm just thinking authority that you and I have trust that can call out that BS. Okay. So that's what happened there. So
yeah.
Learn. I mean, this is a piece of paper that has no feelings.
Yeah.
It's got absolutely no feelings. It's not intrusive, and you can read it and you can agree with it, and it's not going to feel good or bad.
Okay.
But really listen to the words that it's saying to you. Especially this page where it says the driving keyword and the strengths. Those are pretty accurate about you. The next page where it says potential blind spots. And we've done that on purpose because they're not guaranteed blind spots. This is a science. So we said potential. So I would like you to choose one or two of the blind spots that you can resonate with.
Your need for approval of others might even influence you to make decisions that lead to less desirable results because you don't want to be rejected. You sometimes struggle with needing to provide constructive criticism, but not knowing the best way to handle it without offending somebody. And my enthusiasm for winning can cause occasional move forward quickly and miss important details that might have adverse effects in the end results.
How do those resonate with you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's funny how I could probably relate more with the negatives than the positives, like you said. Yeah, that's interesting. Because I even scrolled down fast and went to the blind spots. It's so crazy how we do that.
It is. And so now, it would be great for all of us to read all of our styles and get everybody to get to know each other. It's not possible during this small time, but I'm going to share something else with you. Wouldn't it be great that everybody just had tattoos on their foreheads with their styles? And now we can understand their styles and we can just relate with them that way. Who wants to sign up for that? I'll start a tattoo parlor and, just send people over this way and we'll just get them all tattooed up. But that's not possible. I wish it was. So I'd like you to think about one person in your life. Could be a family member, or it could be somebody you work with, somebody whoever. Just think about one person. Okay. Are they fast-paced and direct, or are they slower paced and indirect? Okay, so think about that. Now, are they guarded and task-oriented, or are they open and people-oriented? Okay, so now I'm going to put this into the screen up here. What you've done is you have put them into a quadrant. You put them into a quadrant of either they're fast-paced and direct and guarded and task-oriented, and if so, they are a competitor. If they were fast-paced and direct and they were open and people-oriented, they were a motivator. And on the bottom hemisphere, slower-paced and indirect and guarded are analyzer, slower-paced and indirect and people-oriented are a peacemaker. So these are the 4 primary styles. So where we talked about connector and stabilizers, energizers, they're a blend. They're a blend. So I'm a connector like Mark, and a motivator and a peacemaker blend, right? Mark is more on the peacemaker side, whereas I'm more on the motivator side. Unless I'm at home, then I'm on the peacemaker side. So I know where I am, and I realize that. So now if you can understand that one person you're thinking about, you've just labeled them, or you've actually said, these could be the potential styles that they are, potential blind spots that they are. What opens up for you in that relationship with that person now? Right? I'm going to wrap this up, but I'm going to use one small example of lunch. It's lunchtime. It's 12:03 and it's lunchtime. I want to go to the Tex-Mex restaurant around the corner. And, I'm the, let's say, who am I going to start off with? I'm going to start off as the energizer. I'll start off with Melanie. How's that? I'm the energizer. I'm starting that whole lunch regime around the office. So it's 12:03 and I'm going to Tex-Mex restaurant, and I walk over to the connector's office. And the connector's office, and it's like 12:06 now, right? And Melanie goes to John, hey, John, you want to go for lunch? And John's like, where are you going to go? Oh, we're going to go to Tex-Mex. Great. John goes, I remember when I was in Texas, I had the best Tex-Mex food. That brisket that we had and the salt. Oh, it was incredible. Oh, that guacamole. Oh, yeah, let's go. I'm excited. And by the time the connector finishes talking, it's like 12:10. And you walk over to the peacemaker's office. And the peacemaker's office is Jane. And Jane goes, yeah, I'd love to go for lunch. But, yesterday I talked to Ross, and I was kind of saying maybe today him and I might go for lunch. So do you mind if I call Ross as well? I don't want him to feel bad. Let's make sure that Ross is involved in the group. Maybe we should ask Steve as well, just in case, he feels bad. We should call Steve as well. And you walk over to the analyzer's office. And now it's like 12:12. And the analyzer goes, well, it's 12. We're supposed to leave at 12. What are we having for lunch? What's the menu look like? Will we be back exactly at 1 o'clock? Because I have a meeting at 1:03. And then you walk over to the controller's office. Controller goes, "We should have been out of here at 12 o'clock. What's going on?" You notice it's lunch, but we have all these different styles responding in different ways. And you never make it to lunch because you're all talking in circles. Does that relate? Can you relate to that in your lives sometimes? You're just not talking the same language. My recommendation is read your blind spot styles, understand them, and share them with your loved ones, with your colleagues. Ask them to do the same assessment. Take this link down and take Mark's link and do the same assessment. Reach out to Mark or myself to help you through this. If you're in a team, actually, I didn't realize you're looking at my screen still. Now you're looking at me. Imagine you're in a team, and to build that cohesive team in wherever you are, what that's going to look like if you can understand their styles. I can go on for another 4 hours, but I've been told to zip it. So I'm going to zip it. I'm going to open this up for Q&A.
So if you want to just type questions in the thing, or you can just come on, there's just a few of us here. Yeah. I want to bring one more context for us, and that is we work with congregants, we work with teams, we work with board members, we work with all these different types of people. And this tool for me, when I took it, I thought myself, man, I wish I had this 30 years ago when I first started in ministry, because when you can, that little 2-question assessment to read somebody really will help you be able to communicate to them in a way that they'll understand, and also a way that you can have a little more grace for others. If you start to understand their style and what their potential blind spots are, now you can have some grace and realize, hey, this isn't a personality conflict. It's simply not understanding each other. And so it really helps build team. And that's what I really appreciated about it. So we had one question right off. Now Ryan is going to kind of be the purveyor of questions, but Shem had an interesting question there because his peacemaker results were different, Likky, than what Joshua's were.
Okay, Shem, let's talk a little bit about that. What do you mean by they were different? Whether it was was the winning word different?
Just the overview. When Josh was reading it, seemed, maybe I missed it, but yeah, it seemed different than what he was reading. So, do you want me to read it to you?
Yeah, just read out. What was your winning word? What did the winning word say for you?
Can't.
You can turn up your volume.
Oh, it's on.
What was your winning word?
My overview or my
the key,
yeah.
Your driving keyword.
Strengths and drivers: adaptable, diplomatic,
yeah,
harmonious, flexible, courteous, serving, sympathetic, thorough, peacemaking, loyal, kind, thoughtful, tolerant, honest.
That should be very similar to what Joshua had.
When he read this overview, it was a bit different.
Okay, I don't recall what the overview was. Now, there's 2 different things. When you went to take the assessment, there was the workplace leader and then the team member. Did you both take the leader, or did one of you take the team member?
I took leader.
Okay, Joshua, leader? Yeah, so it should be the exact same on that. Read off a potential blind spot that you have.
There we go. It says, few people like change, but you like it even less. You might easily find yourself overwhelmed when sudden change happens. This might cause you to withdraw and be silent, bottling up resentments and frustrations.
Yeah.
Because you bottle up these feelings, others might think you are indifferent or insensitive to what is happening.
Yeah, I think the other peacemakers can relate to that. That's exactly what it says on yours as well. Yeah, I think it's the same report, Shem.
I must have got cut off for a bit.
Yeah, or just a different translation when we're reading it as well, right? The different way of dealing with it. So if you need more information on that, let me know. But I think we're okay. It's the same report. what I'd like to understand from some of you is open up this question. The biggest question I get asked is, so now what? What do I do now after I have this? So what do you want to know? What do you think the next step should be? What do you want to do with it? Don't be shy. I'll pick on somebody.
Our team loves doing assessments. So we'll use this assessment as a team. You know, I think one of the biggest things is awareness of other styles is one of the best benefits any assessment can have, because we gain understanding through that. So it's interesting, you know, Shem and Joshua share an office and they're both peacemakers. So, you know, how you enter a peacemaker's office is a bit different when you're an energizer. So I think, you know, that's a key thing for our team, is to do these types of assessments. So I just want to say, this is great. Thanks for the free assessment. Fantastic stuff. Fantastic.
Good. So Chris, one of the things that I'll say, you know, if you have an analyzer in your group at all, do not call an impromptu meeting. They do not like impromptu meetings, because what ends up happening is they get stressed out. They have no idea what the meeting's about. They're not prepared. So please don't do that to them. See, the analyzers are laughing. They go, yeah, we get it. Please don't do that to us. And then the analyzers, please don't send a 30-page email to the energizer saying, I want to talk to you about these 30 things, without a real vision what the outcome's going to be. Because they're like, this is a task to do meeting and I don't want to be there. So knowing the two different styles is huge, is understanding exactly what they need, and building that cohesiveness just builds an incredible relationship.
Yeah, that's good.
Any other questions? No.
The other context I wanted to bring into this is the concept, like in discipleship, because I think that sometimes, you know, yes, absolutely, we need to spiritual formation is a big part of that discipleship. But I think sometimes when we got a discipleship in a apprentice model, is I think we have a responsibility as leaders to actually develop what people call soft skills in our team. I don't like the term soft skills. I call them essential skills, because I think we need those essential skills. Relationship development, these kinds of assessments, to be able to understand each other and to bring the best out in people. And I think that it's sometimes, and I'm not saying this group, but we're the choir here, but I'm saying sometimes leaders don't understand the value of that. We think that it's just all Bible study. And I think that discipleship goes beyond that into real life together, and then understanding it from your identity point of view. God created you a certain way, and so when you understand your style, you can understand He created you with that style because He has a purpose for you, and your purpose is being lived out. You need that style. So there's no bad styles. It's not about bad or good, and the blind spots aren't about that you're doing wrong or you're doing right. It's simply things that we don't see in ourselves that we need. I often say perception's reality, it's not always actuality. And so it's really important to have conversations with your teammates and with people that you trust, asking them, like Likky did, ask that question. How do I present in a room? How do I come across? I remember I fancied myself for years as being an approachable person. And there was a time that I had somebody on our team come and say, you're just not approachable. And I thought, what? Like, this can't be. I'm the most approachable person in the world. Probably if I think that, I'm probably not, by the way. And so I realized that it was because when I got, busy, or we're coming into a meeting and I just wanted to get to the agenda, I came across as very, I didn't say hello, and some of the pleasantries that a peacemaker should have, I didn't always do. And it's because I was thinking about something, I was focused on it. And after hearing that, it really woke me up, and I realized, you know what, I've got to make sure that I am operating authentically in who I am, and not worry about so much about trying to drive things and move and lead. Because here's the thing, most people will think maybe energizers are the A-type leaders, but you can be a analyzer and still be a good leader. You can be a connector and still be a good leader. You can be any of these styles and be a great leader. You don't need the personality style to be a leader. You need to know that so that you can lead well from who you are, from who God created you to be. So I just wanted to add that little piece in, just so we know. That's why I wanted Likky to come and share with us, because I think we need to sometimes get, our learning. We're lifelong learners. I want to learn from other people and other sources. So that was my motivation for having him come.
Great, Mark, thank you. And one of the things, I'm just going to bring up my book title, right? That's Why BS is Easy. But navigating your blind spots to become a better leader.
Yeah.
I had a real hard time with that title because I didn't want it to be only for leaders. In my world, everybody's a leader.
Right.
Every single human being is a leader. You could be leading people. You could be leading families. You could be leading relationships. You could be leading a sports team. You could be leading a project. You're a leader. You could be leading yourself. So that's why the word navigating your blind spots to become a better leader, it can even be read as navigate your own blind spots to become a better human being. And once you can dig deep inside yourselves and be aware of how you show up and who you are and what others see you as, you're authentically present. It's just out there. I've been doing this work for many years, but I launched my book on March 31st. And that was the first time that I was free, literally free from everything, because it was out in the open.
Yeah.
It's all in the book. It's all out there. And you don't need to worry about that perception, what people think about you or what it's like. It's just out there. So talk about freeing yourself, put it on paper and get rid of it.
And Likky, they can get your book on Amazon. I'm assuming just put the title in. I've read his book, but it takes a while. There is a narrative part, a story part that is very powerful in Likky's story, but there's also actual exercises to go through to work your own BS out, and they're very powerful. And so I've been really enjoying that, but it's taken me longer to read it because if you want to really get the most out of the book, you have to do those exercises as well that he's got in there. But I found the book to be very helpful. So
great. Thanks for that, Mark. And actually, today's the last day. If you're a Kindle reader, look it up today and you get it for free.
Ooh.
If you want a full book on book, you'll have to order it. But if you like Kindles, get on Amazon today. And I usually do a promo once a month. And today's the last day for that promo for the free Kindle book. Good. Again, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be here and to speak with you. Reach out to Mark. I think doing the assessment for yourselves and just reading it is a huge step forward in understanding your own blind spots.
Also, I'll be getting the results as well because that blind spot assessment gets sent to me, and I will be sending you an email in the next few days just to touch base and offer, if you want to have a conversation about it, I'm more than happy to do that for no charge, obviously. So I just want to serve our district as best I can. So there you go. So Stan, thank you for Likky. Thank you so much for offering this to us, and we just really appreciate it. And Stan, thanks for having us to do this, and I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you very much, Mark, for your participation and introducing Likky to us. And Likky, thank you very much for your gift to us today. We appreciate it very much. And we're prayers, so we're praying that you will have a blessed life and enjoy your contribution to people. Be good. I'm just going to close. It says 10:30, but I will close. Maybe Brandon, you can mute yourself if there's anything to add about Alan and Barb. So most of you got emails yesterday about our senior folks who were in a car accident in the hospital, beat up pretty bad, Alan and Barb McLean. Any updates this morning, Brandon, or is it just kind of their?
Well, they were moved down to Victoria to the trauma ward. They spent most of the day in the emergency, holding hands in two gurneys side by side. and now they're in a room shared. So, but they look like they'll recover from it. And grandma's got a broken sternum and all the ribs are cracked on the one side or whatever, and pulmonary contusion. Grandpa has a cracked sternum and ribs and potentially a skull fracture. So, but in the meantime, you can be praying for the family, praying for them, of course, and they're getting up there in age. And also pray for my mom and dad. They have to navigate this, and we need some doors to open and some things to happen because, as all of you can imagine, my grandparents gave everything, their whole life to ministry with not too much long-term planning. And so they live with my mom and dad full time. My mom still works as a nurse, and she is their nurse as well. And they have home care come in and stuff. So you guys can be praying for them. You all know them and love them, and it's great. And got some good pictures, and nobody else was injured, other than the other person's car, that hit them. And there was witnesses actually that saw that he was not in the wrong. So that was actually really good that he didn't cause the accident. So that's a nice way for him to feel. So anyway, thanks for your concern. Appreciate it. Just think of my mom and dad mostly. And as we navigate this as a family, it just adds a little bit of extra stuff.
Thanks, Brandon. Allow me to pray to close off our time. Lord, we just want to be grateful for the many gifts you give us. And we thank you for the gift of this presentation and for Likky and Mark today. But as we're closing, we're thinking of Alan and Barb, our dear friends, seniors who have invested in many of our lives in a very difficult season in the hospital. We ask you to bring healing and help to them. We pray you'd help Marcy and Jerry to navigate their care. And we just love them, and we know you do. And we just pray, Lord, bring strength, comfort. May they know your presence, I pray. And for each of us as we go our way today, help us to walk productively and add value to people. I pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you so much. Thanks to Mark again and Likky, and to Ryan for sort of being behind the scenes, keeping technology functioning. And for all of you for taking time. May the Lord bless you. And we may do something like this again next month. I'm not sure month to month with COVID and summertime coming what we'll do, but we'll keep you in the loop. And talk to you soon. God bless you.
Thanks, Dan. Good to see everyone.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, everybody.
Blessing.